Whoa, I guess the adrenaline rush you get when doing a Facebook Live, no matter how many you've done, never changes. And I know it's been a while since I have been live, so here we go. Let's just see what happens with this Wi-Fi setup we have here. I plan on doing my lives again in my Naturally and Healthy and Happy with Belinda group and page, but I haven't done it for a while because why? Because we've been busy immigrating and moving overseas. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Belinda. I am a women's health mentor, and I normally do videos around how we can enhance our natural ability to heal. But today, because we have been doing a lot of posts on our move and our experience in, just changing our lifestyle, I've had a lot of questions around, well, how did you move? How did you leave Australia? I didn't know it was possible. Hi, Melissa. So if you're popping on in, just say hello. I know that it's going to be very late for Aussies, but you may catch this while you're lying in bed, or maybe you'll catch this tomorrow, or maybe you're not even Australian. So, just say hello and let us know where you're coming in from. We got 4 people on live now. Okay, so I thought I would do a video series here on my private profile, just to explain, well, what's happened. I've got about 7 videos lined up, which I've been meaning to do. I just haven't had the time, honestly. It's just been so chaotic. I thought once we got here, we would have, a few extra minutes. But that doesn't seem to be the case, because we've got to set things up. We've got to get a new mobile plan, and we've got to get transport and a motorbike, and the kids want to see the whole region here, which is great. It's amazing so far. So, but we'll get into videos like that soon. But today, I just wanted to do a video around what happened when we actually left Australia. Okay, what happened at the airport, the problems that we had. Maybe this could help you in the future, or maybe you don't even want to leave and you're just curious about, it's actually possible. Wow. So if you have any questions throughout this, just pop them in the comments below. If you're here live, then I'll answer them live if I can. And if you're catching this on the replay, just say replay down below. And if you have any questions, I will get back to you, maybe either with a video in future lives, or simply, answer it there and then. So for those of you who know me, we were living in Queensland, Australia. Okay, so we left from the Brisbane domestic airport to go to Sydney. And from Sydney, our international flight left to go to Vancouver, Canada. And from Vancouver, we flew to Mexico City. I don't know if you've been watching all our posts throughout the last couple of weeks. And then from Mexico City, can you hear these monkeys upstairs? They're not actually monkeys, they're my children. They're eating pancakes, but gosh, they're making some noise. So I'm trying to use a microphone here to try and drown out some of the noise. So from Mexico City, we flew to Costa Rica. And in Costa Rica, we took a shuttle to where we are in Nicaragua, San Juan del Sur. But what actually happened, it was very interesting. So our flight from Brisbane leaves at 6 a.m. and we're told to get there at least 2 hours beforehand. No, at least an hour and a half, but we got there 2 hours beforehand because we knew that we had a lot of luggage and 4 children. And so, kids have been on planes before, but they've never been international. And because this is connecting to an international flight, we had to check in our luggage to go all the way to Mexico City before we picked it up. Okay, so we're at the domestic airport, and we get there early, just before 4 a.m. And I was speaking to the airline staff there, and I said, well, when do you start? Because, we were in the lineup, and there's a few people in front of us, but we're pretty close to the front of the line. And when I finally got to the front, I said, what time do you start? And she said, 4 a.m. I said, oh, okay, that's why we're just lining up, waiting for people to check us in, right? And so we're speaking with the lady there, and it's travel international, my husband and I have done a lot of travel international in the past before kids. Our last trip before kids was in 2008, which is, over 10, 15 years ago, right? But we've done it a lot. And so we kind of know what to expect, or we thought we kind of knew what to expect. But it has completely changed. It's like, whoa, mind-blowing. So the first thing we do is we get up to the Qantas staff and, they bypass us several times because they see, oh, big family, lots of luggage, that's going to be too hard. Let's just move on to the next person. And we're like, oh my gosh. So we're standing at the front desk for 45 minutes, before we actually get seen, right? We've got to get to our plane. We've got 4 kids. We've got to get through security. It's flipping nuts. So we're standing at the desk for 45 minutes before we even get checked in. And we're like, are we even going to make this flight? So before we even leave Australia, we're worried about flights. It was like, oh my gosh. Anyway, we eventually make it up to the Qantas desk to be checked in. And the lady sitting there is training another lady. So they're going through everything meticulously, taking their time, dotting all the I's, checking up everything. And I'm like, oh my gosh, we got 4 kids and all of this luggage. And it's insane, right? So you're like, oh gosh, come on, just hurry up. Anyway, we have to tell them our destination. So we tell them, well, Mexico. And they said, well, Mexico has to have an onward ticket. You have to be able to leave Mexico. And we're like, well, we're going to Costa Rica. Here's the ticket to Costa Rica. She's like, okay, Costa Rica, you have to have an onward ticket to leave Costa Rica, to get into Costa Rica. And we're like, oh my gosh. I don't know if you've ever travelled before, but it never used to be the case. We bought a ticket, a one-way ticket to Argentina once, and 1 night's accommodation. And we were allowed to leave. It wasn't a problem at all. But nowadays, you seem to have an onward ticket for absolutely everything. It was crazy. So my husband said, is this ever going to stop? We're just going to keep going around and around and around until we get back to Australia. And the lady just shrugged her shoulders. And so there's this app that you can buy a ticket on. It's a legitimate ticket, but it's not, thousands and thousands of dollars, and it gets cancelled within 48 hours. So anyway, we ended up buying that ticket so that we could actually get on the plane, which is absolutely insane. So the next thing the airport staff want to know as well, do you have a travel exemption? Because we haven't had the experimental thing, right? And so yes, we have our travel exemption. And so if you have a travel exemption, you can actually leave. This is a question that a lot of people have asked me over the last 2 weeks is, well, how did you leave? I thought you weren't going to have the experiment. And I'm like, no, you can leave. You've just got to apply for the exemption. And it's actually a lot more straightforward than it makes out on the website. It was approved within 31 minutes. Like, it was like, wow, okay, this thing is really happening. So it's a lot easier than they want you to think, because, they want to be able to control us and want to be able to keep us in place and in check or whatever. And, whatever. It's, each to their own. If people want to travel and make that choice for themselves, then they can. If they don't want to, then fine. If you don't want to, then apply for an exemption. It's very straightforward. They just want to make sure that you have a valid reason for leaving. Travel can't actually be one. So you just make something up, right? No problem. They don't have to know all the details. Then they're not my mother. Anywho, and the airport staff there, so we're flying with Qantas, right? And the new trainee was there. She's like, oh, can they travel with Qantas without being experimented on? And the lady's like, oh, yes. Domestically, it's totally fine. And she was like, must have been brand new, because she was like, oh, I didn't know that. And I was like, oh, this is interesting. Okay. So then we finally get checked in, and then we've got to go up to check our baggage in. And that was a whole another drama. We were flying with Qantas to Sydney, but from Sydney, we're flying with Air Canada the rest of the way to Mexico City. And Air Canada had said that for extra luggage, we would pay 70 Canadian per bag. Okay, so I think we had 13 or 14 bags in total. There's 6 of us, so 7 or 8 of them were extra luggage, and we're supposed to pay 70 Canadian per extra bag. And that is if you apply it directly with Air Canada, not if you do it directly with Qantas, because Qantas are beep. I really want to swear. Qantas is total jerks. Anywho, we get up there and I say to the lady, well, we've been told that, we should be able to check this in at the online price, because it wouldn't let us do it online because there were 2 airlines. And she said, oh yes, that's the case. You can't check it in early or pay the online price if you are if you've got 2 airlines. Didn't know that. Wish I had known that beforehand. So we had a travel agent organise these tickets for us, and she was the one who also helped us with the exemption to leave. But normally David and I would just book our own tickets online, but it was just easier to use her and navigate through all of the paperwork that you have to do, because she was very good. She let us know that we had to have a visa just to transit through Canada. She had let us know that we had to have possibly have a health thing for Mexico, but that actually got cancelled. She also let us know that we might have to fill out a health form for Costa Rica, but that also got cancelled. So it's good to have that backing if you're unsure. I think next time we would probably just navigate it ourselves if we take international flights again, and that's just how we are. But anyway, checked baggage, because I got my little list here, so I'm trying to follow through this. So we got up to the Qantas counter, and I said, we've got these extra bags. We're flying with Air Canada. When we get to Sydney, Air Canada have told us that we can have the online price. And then she's like, really, it's 4 o'clock in the morning, right? So she's a bit, tired or grumpy. I don't know. We're being all polite about it. And she says, well, it would be good if Air Canada had told us that. So it's not possible from this end. So we ended up paying a crap load of money for our extra luggage. And FYI, bathroom scales are not accurate. Just letting you know, because I weighed those bags 1,000,000 times to make sure that they were the right weight, but they weren't. They were all about 1.5 kilos over, so we had to pay for extra baggage. It was absolutely ridiculous. So we were paying for our baggage all the way from Brisbane to Sydney to Vancouver, and then finally collecting it in Mexico City. Okay, so it was absolutely insane. Can everybody hear me? Just let me know if you can't hear me. I've got this microphone here, and it's just started raining, and I've got the kids upstairs eating pancakes, and they are making noise. My husband's liking this, so he's probably like, shh, shh, trying to tell them to be quiet. Yeah, so it was absolutely insane, right? Just getting out of Brisbane. Not even, we haven't even left our capital city, and it's chaotic. It's insane, right? So we get our bags finally all checked. Yeah, Kim's laughing. Yeah, it was like insane. Oh, now I've got a kid behind me. But be quiet if you want to stand there. So, and then we finally get our bags checked in. We've got like not very much time to get through security, right? We got 4 kids. We now line up at security. We find the line to get into security. It was insane, because Monday morning we left, and Monday morning is when all the FIFO people leave for their work for the week, right? So we're in this lineup with all of these miners and all of these gas workers, right? And we got 4 kids, and they're dragging their luggage, and they're trying to push us through. Like, it's like going through you're in a cattle line, you're in a cattle crush, and you're trying to all get through the one space, and you're trying to get all your bags checked, and you're trying to get all your, bags scanned, and then you got to take your laptops out of your bags. Now we've got 4 laptops, so there's, us, my husband and I, and then there's the 2 kids' laptops because we homeschool. So it was absolutely insane. And this was just domestic airport, right? So it was very confronting just at the domestic airport. And so we get through security. We're literally legging it to our plane. We're got the kids, they've got a backpack each, and they're, you know, not exactly 7 kilos. They've got a backpack each, and they're dragging their rolly bags, and we're running through Brisbane Airport, and we're trying to carry absolutely everything just to make it to the first flight, right? And we finally get on the plane. We're like the last on the plane, where we put our bags in the, I can't even think now, the baggage. If you want to be here, you can be quiet. If you're going to be silly, you'll have to leave. So we are putting our bags in the overhead lockers. There we go. There's the word for it. You know, and we finally sit down, we get everybody settled. And was there TVs on that flight?
What one?
The Brisbane one. Brisbane to Sydney. Can you remember?
No, it wasn't.
No, there wasn't. Because like we were like, it's okay, once you get on, you can watch TV. And there wasn't. And so then there was like, there's no TV here! From the kids. It was like, oh my gosh. Just have a sleep. You were up at, 3:30 in the morning. 3 o'clock in the morning. They were up. It was crazy. So we get on this flight. The flight's like an hour and a half, 2 hours. I can't remember. But, we spent that whole time, oh my gosh, getting over the stress of just getting through Brisbane domestic airport. It wasn't even the international one, but they gave us all of our boarding passes for every single flight, right? It was like, and they were checking all of our international things. And they were checking our exemption and making sure that everything was, all of the things were dotted and I'd. And, oh, Rachel's on. Hello, Rachel. And Kim's on. Yes. So who else is on? Anna's on. Oh, hi, Anna. How are you? And Bettina's on. I got a few people on now. And I think I saw Tammy and Yira. And sorry if I've missed your name. But that was just the chaos of just leaving Brisbane Airport. We haven't even left Australia yet. There is a whole another story in Sydney, right? So we eventually, 2 hours later, land in Sydney Airport. Okay, and I'd checked with the travel agent that an hour and a half would be enough to get us to that flight, because I was like, oh gosh, an hour and a half in Sydney, is that going to be enough with 4 kids when we don't know where we're going, right? We have been in Sydney Airport a few times, but I think we've flown in domestically a couple of times. And we flew out once internationally, but we flew out the next day and we had time, right? So it was like crazy. So we land in Sydney. The plane has nowhere to dock because the Grand Prix or something was on the day before in Melbourne. And so there was all these extra flights. So we're sitting on the tarmac. We've got an hour and a half to get to our international flight. And we sit on the tarmac for 20 minutes before we even get off that plane. It is insane. So we're like, oh my gosh, we are going to miss our international flight. This is going to be just a crazy, insane nightmare. And it says, sounds like my confusing experience at Brisbane Airport. Yeah, it's crazy. It's absolutely insane. So we get to Sydney. We're sitting on the plane and we finally get to disembark off the plane at the domestic terminal, right? And then we're like, David's already researched this. You just get a taxi. Oh, here's another one. And another one. Say good morning.
Hey, Daddy is watching this on his phone.
Okay, well, you go up and watch it with Daddy.
No.
No.
I'm going to be in this.
Okay, but you have to be quiet if you're going to be here.
Hey, Daddy.
You have to be quiet.
Hi.
Okay, or I'm going to have to walk away. So we finally get off the flight from Sydney and we're like, once again, running through the airport to find out where we got to go. We've been told that we can catch a bus to the international terminal. Okay, I'm going to have to walk away now. Okay, no, you walk away. Off you go. Off you go. Off you go. Now I've shut my book with my notes in it. Yep, and here's hubby. He's gonna... Off you go, Courtney.
Upstairs, Riley. Upstairs, Courtney.
Okay,
Come on, Riley.
so we are... What was that? A gecko. This gecko's running across the concrete. So we are running through the Sydney airport. Sorry there, just distracted by the kids. to get to our international flight. We're told we can take a taxi, we could take the bus, but only if we had a Qantas ticket, which we didn't. We had an Air Canada ticket. So we were told that we could catch a taxi. We run past the taxi bays. There are people lined up for taxis, but no flipping taxis. So we said the next option is the train. So we run down to the train station. We're running with kids with heavy backpacks and their rolly bags behind them. And they're just their little, they're just the kids' rolly bags, you know, with Elsa and Anna on them, and they're not the good quality ones, so they don't have the long handles so that David or I could take them, and they're got books in them. They're rather heavy. So we're running through Sydney Airport domestic terminal to get to the train. We get to the train, we got to wait 15 minutes for the train. It's like, oh my gosh. So we have to get in an elevator, that's right. And the kids have, you know, they're from Toowoomba. There's hardly any elevators. They don't really use elevators. And they're like, get in the elevator. And then Courtney, my 9-year-old, is standing outside the elevator as the doors close. And I'm like reaching forward for it. I'm like, get in, Courtney. And I pull her into the elevator with all of her bags because she's like standing there. And it's like, oh my gosh. We finally get to the train platform. And we're waiting there for the train, and we're like, oh, looking at our watch. Come on, train, we need to go. Yeah, I know, someone's sending me a laughing face. It was crazy. And then we get on the train eventually when it arrives, right? And once again, Courtney's standing on the platform. And we're like, Courtney, get on the train. You're going to stay here. Like, get on the train. We're like grabbing her because she's like, what do I do here? I don't know what to do. Like, you know, deer in the headlights. It's hilarious. Now, at the time, it was not hilarious. Oh, what about the turnstiles? My husband's here prompting me. Before we could get to the train, we had to go through the turnstiles to, you know, you have to pay your ticket, right? And we don't have time to just stand at the ticket machine and work out how to pay for the ticket. It says that you can just tap and go with your card, you know, use the pay pass thing. So we're like, tap and go. Okay, great. One person through. We tap it again, and then it won't let you tap again. It won't let you tap the card a second time. You have to use 6 independent cards because there's six of us. And we're like talking to the attendant, and we're like, can we just pay you? And she's like, no. And we're like, oh my God. So we have to stand there, find a different card, pull out a different card. I used 2 of my cards, and then David used 4 of his. It's just lucky that we had 6 cards that we could tap to get in. We're like, go through, and then you, go through. And I was like, oh my gosh, absolutely insane. Crazy. And then that happens at the other end. So we finally get off the train to the international airport in Sydney. And then you have to do it all again, the turnstiles again at the other end. You have to tap and go again with your card 6 independent times. I hope we use the same 6 ones because they probably, you know, track that. I don't know. But anyway, we had to tap and go 6 times to get us all through. It was insane. We're finally at the Sydney airport, right? And so we have to find Air Canada, the Air Canada desks. And we've got A to J. There's desks at A, there's desks at B. I think Qantas was at A. B was like Jetstar or Virgin. And then it just kept going down the ranks, right? And we were like running past because, you know, we have an hour and a half from when that flight landed, not including the time that we sat on the tarmac and the time that it took for the train to get there. So I have no idea how much time we had left to get to the Air Canada desks. We were, you know, not okay. And we hadn't even gone through security in the Sydney airport. Luckily, we didn't have to collect our bags. So we are legging it through Sydney airport, having no idea where we're supposed to be going. We're just running past, looking at each desk, looking for Air Canada. And Air Canada is at J, by the way, right down the other bloody end. Yeah. And so we had these 4 kids, backpacks, rolly bags for each person, running through Sydney airport. We eventually get to Air Canada, and we say to Letty, we're on this flight. And David's like, we're going to miss it, aren't we? She's like, I think her name was Diana. That's right. Diana said, nope, we are not going to miss it. I'm going to get you on that flight. We're going to get us all through, and it's not going to be a problem. I'm going to escort you the whole way. And we're like, oh gosh, thank God. Someone is looking out for us. We're going to get on this flight. So I think we only had like half an hour left at this stage. Like it was not long at all. And we hadn't even gone through security, right? And there was another family in the same boat. They were on the same flight from Brisbane. I saw them on the same flight. And so they're like sweating it out. And they got a brand new baby. And this poor woman is standing there holding this baby, breastfeeding while trying to get checked into Air Canada. And she's running through the airport while breastfeeding, keeping this baby calm. I was like, oh, well, at least we're past that stage. But oh my gosh, I felt sorry for her as well because it was very, very stressful. And we hadn't even left Australia. It was like, oh my gosh, is this going to be how the whole thing is like? So anyway, she checks us into Air Canada, gives us our boarding passes again, even though we got boarding passes in Brisbane. I don't know. And then she says, would you like to check in any carry-on baggage for free? And we're like, yes! So we don't have to make these kids carry all of these heavy bags. And she's like, there's no electronics or water in any of these. No, it's all good. So we check in like the kids' 4 wheelie bags so they don't have to carry them. We did have to keep their backpacks because we wouldn't collect these bags until Mexico. I checked with her. I said, do we collect them in Vancouver or no? She said to go all the way to Mexico. And so we'd kept, clothes, a blanket for them in their backpacks because we knew we're going to be in airports for a long time. They're going to be in different time zones. They might want to have a sleep. They want their cuddly toys with them. So there were certain bags that we had to keep. If I had the option, I would have move chairs now. We would have checked in more. So she gets us through security very quickly. Like we bypassed the whole line and we scan all of our bags. We'd have to take all our laptops out again. And then we had a food bag with us and it had food and water in it, which I didn't realize. So we got through security, but then you're not allowed to take water on flights. And so we want to check that bag. And I was like, oh my gosh, we don't have time for this. And it's just water. And he's like, I said, just throw it in the bin. I don't care. We don't need water. We get water on the flight. It's fine. So we do that, right? We eventually get to the plane. We get on the plane. We get settled. And we're not even the last people to get on the plane. It was like, oh, wow, we can finally relax. We've been running since Brisbane. It was absolutely bonkers. Absolutely bonkers. Just absolutely insane. So that was our experience just getting out of Australia, okay? And we eventually, got on that flight, relaxed, and then we were on it for about 14 hours. So it was insane. Just getting out of Australia was flipping nuts. And I don't know how long this video is going for because I think it tells me here on my private profile. It tends to tell me on my groups and pages. So that's the first section of our trip, and I'm probably going to leave it there unless anyone has any questions or concerns or interests, and I'll probably do another one about our experience in getting through Canada. This is the lineup that I've got here. I've got a list. Getting through Canada, our experience in Mexico, arriving in Costa Rica will be another video, crossing the border into Nicaragua for those who are considering this, or just curious, arriving to our rental and what our rental property is like. I'll give you a bit of a teaser here. It's actually raining, so the view may not be as good. And I'm not on the upper deck, but this is the view that we have here. And I don't know if you can see it, but they've got a Jesus statue up here on the hill, which is, in the back there. And then we've got the bay just here. Our friends are living in that complex just down there. And then we have the town just over here. So I'll give you a walkthrough of our property. And we've got a lovely pool just here, which the kids like to play in every day. But yeah, I've showed this property to a couple of friends. And when I've told them that we're going to move to Nicaragua for a couple of years, and they're like, oh, that was better than I expected. It's like, yeah, we're not moving to a shack. So funny. But yeah, So yeah, that's the video lineup that I'm planning on doing over the next couple of days or so. I will try to do it of a morning, probably a morning here, which is probably very late in Australia, probably about 10 or 10:30, I can't remember. Maybe it was 9:30. I'm also going to do a video on why this move, because that's a question that a lot of people have asked. So if you have any questions about, you know, what we've done here and why, or how to, then just put them in the comments and I'll add them to the video list. I was also going to do, I thought of one the other day, is starting a mobile account in another country. I thought it would be fairly straightforward, but it's a little bit tricky, so I'll cover that as well, and I will probably agree and attest to that. So what do we got here? Some comments. Rachel says, "You look so well, even after all your adventures." Yeah. Kim says, "Morning to the little ones." Yes, they're playing up. Melissa says, Canberra Airport is the worst. I was actually really surprised at how busy the airports are, which is interesting. Brisbane was like packed. I have never seen Brisbane so busy, and Sydney was rather busy as well. But I know that there are airports around the world that are actually really quiet. Like Vancouver, you would think it's a major hub, and all of the most of the Air Canada flights from Australia go there, right? And I'm assuming that other ones go there, but it was like dead, literally dead quiet. But you know, I'm sure there's reasons behind that. So yeah, so stay tuned for the Canada section. I'll probably do it in the next couple of days. Anna says, yes, phone contracts are interesting. Yeah, it's very interesting. But I can't even download some of the apps that I require because my Apple phone is locked to Australia, and I tried to change the location, and it was, yeah. Anyway, I'll figure it out, and then I'll let you know so that others know how to do that. Now, I'm going to probably upload this video also to my personal YouTube channel so that other people can watch it too. So if you are watching this via YouTube, you know, welcome to put a comment down below as well. And I think that's about it. Tammy says, what's the food like? Okay, there's a video for you. We've slowly been tasting things. It's been a little bit chaotic here, but I'll explain why when I get to the arriving in our rental video. So stay tuned for that. And if you are watching from Australia, go to bed. Anyway, you have a good day, and our day is just starting here. So we have got plans, and you'll probably see photos later, to go to another art workshop with the kids, and that'll be their art and craft for the week. And a market. We're going to a market. So yeah, that'll be good fun. And yeah, hopefully, I'm going to say hopefully it'll stop raining, but actually it's really dry here. It's not like Queensland. It's really dry. The wet season is about to start. I'm told it starts on around the 15th of May. Actually, no, I've been told it starts on the 15th of May every year for the last 11 years, except for one time when it started on the 16th and one time when it started on the 14th. So it was very specific. So, but it's starting to, you know, sprinkle every now and then. But we'll see what wet season is like, because I've never experienced that, and that's what we're here to do, is experience something different and move us out of our comfort zones and just, you know, live a bit differently for a while and experience something. So Maureen says it's 11:15 p.m. So bed is a good idea in Townsville. Wow. Yep, you're up late, lady. Go to bed. All right then. Night, night. Beautiful people, and good morning if you are watching from this area in the world. But I'll talk to you all very soon. Okay. Bye.